Hey, we're here today to talk about Agentic AI in business travel, or more broadly, AI in finance software. That has changed shape quite significantly over the past year or so. We've moved on from chatbots that could answer questions to agents that can actually perform tasks and do things. They can book a business trip, submit an expense, they can even move money, which, whilst very exciting, is also a cause for worry for some people, because if an agent is semi-autonomous and can act on my behalf, the natural question is, how much does it act on its own, and how can I keep it under control? We get asked this a lot, so today we're going to walk through some of the main concerns we hear the most about Agentic AI in business travel, and we'll show you exactly how Payhawk Travel handles each one. So we'll talk about things like autonomy, things like visibility, and also human fallback. Let's jump straight in the first concern, probably the biggest one, around autonomy and control. People hear agent, and they picture something operating outside the system, maybe making decisions on its own. But that is not what's happening here. The first point to make is that Payhawk's AI travel agent lives inside your existing environment. It inherits the same permissions, controls, the setup that governs every other piece of spend in your company. In a nutshell, it cannot do anything that you haven't already authorized. This is really important to keep in mind. And there are two specific places where that shows up. Let me show you. This is the first piece of the puzzle. This is where your policy lives. And this is where you set the rules that the agent operates within. Things like cabin class, maximum cost per flight, per single leg, per geography, for example, short haul, long haul, European, cross-Atlantic flights, hotel rates, daily allowances, anything that you want to include in your travel policy, it lives here. And the agent doesn't invent anything. It only enforces what you have already defined. We will see what that looks like and how that policy travels with your employee's request in a moment. Now, the second part of the piece is the approval workflows. You build the approval workflow exactly as you would for an expense, for reimbursement and invoice. You can choose to have low risk in policy trips auto-approved. That's up to you. We find most of our customers still prefer to have a well-defined approval workflow. So anything that does need human sign-off can go to the right person. And as with other types of spend, you can make this approval workflow as simple or as complicated as you like. It can have multiple steps. It can have conditional approval rules. You can even add a review step, which is something we found our customers with a travel manager or an ops person who likes to oversee trips like to do. Now let's see what this looks like in action from the requester's point of view, how that policy and those approval workflows, how they work in practice to make sure that everything stays within your guardrails. So this is where it all comes together. This is my view as a traveler, as an employee, and I'm going to start by requesting a trip from the travel agent. So let's say I'm going to London 5 days next Tuesday. The agent is going to look for flights and also check against the company policies that we saw earlier. You can see here, it respects the travel policy, the maximum cost at this type of flight, and it flags options that are out of policy, right? But let me show you what happens if I do choose that option. The agent is going to ask me for a reason for that. Now, the ability for travelers to still request something out of policy with a reason is a deliberate choice, because we know that sometimes with short notice travel, the prices can be quite a lot higher and people still need to travel. So you do have an option to select an out-of-policy flight or hotel, but you have to add a justification. And I'll show you what the approver sees so that they can make a decision with all the context that they need. So let's say I want to choose this flight because the rest of my team are already on it. Now we're going to move on to choosing a hotel. This is part of the same flow. It's very straightforward. You can see some of my colleagues are there as well. I'm going to select a room, and the agent is going to pull all of this together into one simple request, right? It has everything: my flights, hotels, daily allowance. Now, this is what's going to go to my manager, or the person that's set as the approver in this workflow. And this is what they're going to see, right? They see whether my request is in policy or out of policy. Because it's out of policy, my justification for it is included in this request. And very importantly, we find that most approvers will be budget holders, so they'll also be able to see how that request affects their budget. And from here, they can choose to approve or decline as they see fit. Now, the second concern is visibility. With chatbots, the worst case was a bad answer. With agents, things actually happen. So the question becomes, how do I know what they did and how can I trust what I'm seeing? This is why I think Payhawk Travel actually gives you more visibility than most companies that handle travel today, not less. Let me show you how. Now, this is the trips view. Every trip request, every approval, every booking for everyone shown in one place. You can see who's traveling where, when, against which policy. But for finance in particular, this is the audit trail that you may have been chasing across different booking tools, card statements, expense reports. Now it all lives here. So let's go back to the trip that we just booked. It's all logged here, all the details about flights, about hotels. There's already an expense report that's been automatically created. The point is that nothing the agent does is hidden. Every action is logged, every decision is traceable, and every trip carries its full history. The third concern is maybe the most human one. What if I need to change something? What if something goes wrong? Am I stuck talking to a machine? Here's the honest answer. We have purposely built the agent to handle as much as possible on its own because that's where the time saving comes from. Most changes, like changing a flight, updating a hotel, changing the dates, the agent can do those itself and really fast. But, and this is really important, we know travel is high stakes. Flights get cancelled, plans changed, and things go wrong that may need human support. So the travel agent is backed by a real human support team. If the request is outside what the agent can confidently handle, it will escalate. So your travelers are never stuck talking to a bot in a moment that matters. Let's have a look at what a simple change looks like that the agent can actually execute. Let's make some changes to the booking that we have just made. Let's say we want to change the dates of the trip. Because this request has already been approved, the agent flags the cost implications. Unfortunately, my flight was non-refundable, so there will be a cost implication that will be, again, for my manager to decide whether or not to go with. I'm going to choose a new flight. The agent is going to ask me for a reason for this change, flag the cost that we are incurring because of this change, and it becomes another trip request. So this is how the agent can handle simple changes without having to escalate to customer support. So let's summarize. We had 3 concerns and 3 answers. Autonomy. The agent operates inside the rails you set, the same way every other Payhawk feature does. When it comes to visibility, you can see every trip, every action, and every decision in one place. It's already auditable. And human fallback. Maximum autonomy where it saves time, but real human support where it counts. We believe that's how Agentic AI is supposed to work in finance software, acting on your behalf, but without acting on its own.